it going today? We are going to be playing Champion of the Gods. Unfortunately, I tried to record some of this, and my mic decided it was going to get really loud again for no reason whatsoever, and I can't use the footage, so we're going to go ahead and restart before, I uploaded a video, and I think like 4 people watched it or something like that, so it doesn't really matter. We're going to start over completely. Now, before I was going for speed and merciful, integrity, humility, and faithful. It was working out really well, so I think I'm going to just go the same way that I did last time and hope for the best. So I'm going to do exactly what I did last time, which is kind of annoying for me because I fucking hate redoing things, but I have to because my computer decided it was going to be a dick to me. Take a quick drink. By the way, I got this game for $3 on Steam because it was on sale. It's really, really good, actually. And let's go ahead and start. The Call of Destiny. You awake in darkness, stirred from sleep by a sound like thunder. I got to get back into reading this. I was getting really fast at it before. Sitting up, you can hear your breathing and the heavy beating of your heart. Apart from that, the night is quiet. Was it only a dream? You look at the chamber around you. Moonlight bleeds through the shutters. You can just barely discern the clay walls and the forms of your other family members. Alert and awake like you, they are waiting. The noise is louder when it returns, a long rumbling howl, inhuman to be sure, but brimming with rage. Whatever it is, it must be at the edge of the village. And now it is joined by the plaintive moan of the sentinel's horns, the alarm. By the way, the sentinels are the defenders of the village. They're apprentices and stuff too. You feel your father spring to his feet, the earthen floor shaking beneath you. He throws open the window and the entryway to let in more of the moonlight. Clasping his tunic over his shoulder, he takes his spear in hand and readies himself to face an unknown enemy. As Archon of your village, he is no stranger to the task. Your mother dons her chiton, already whispering the prayers to Sonus that will bring the warrior's strength. Last time I made fun of chiton because it reminds me of like House of Chiton, which was a Blade movie. You've seen your parents prepare this way many times whenever there is danger. Until now you have always watched them go in silence, but tonight is different. Tonight you feel certain that you must fight by their side. You rise to join them, gathering your cloak. You reach for the spade, hoping to use it as a weapon, but your father stays your hand. Not you. You are a brave child, but you are not of age. You glance into the darkness. Your younger sibling watches you closely, no doubt perturbed by the thought of being left alone. Yet you are sure the little one would come to no harm, just as you are sure you are needed at the edge of the village. Your mother smiles at you warmly as she steps into the night. She does not have to tell you what she expects you to do. There's a firmness in her eyes. You look to your father. He too expects your obedience, but a force greater than either of you is guiding your hand. What will you do? I can make my apologies to him. I'd be like, sorry, father, I have to do this and go. I can go back to my mat angry, or I can rebuke my father. I can politely return to my mat and then go anyway. This is what I did last time, so we're going to do it again this time. Very well, father, you say. He pats your shoulder, giving it a firm squeeze. The time will come for you to prove yourself. When it does, I have no doubt you will make me proud, but that time is not yet at hand. Your father waits for you to return to your mat. He does not leave until he has seen you sit down beside your young sibling and stay there. Then he is gone. You can hear people running through the village past your door. You can feel the excitement and danger beyond the walls. When you're sure enough time has gone by, you begin making your way toward the door. A young voice calls across the room. I could choose either Big Brother or Big Sister. I'm going to go with Big Brother. Big Brother, where are you going? You turn to your brother Peroclus, take one look into his eyes, and decide to tell him the truth about my to leave on the pretense that my father has forgotten something, to threaten my brother with punishment if he makes noise while I sneak away. We're going to go with the first one. You cannot lie to your brother. My beloved Peroclus, you say. I believe in my soul that the gods are speaking to me tonight, and they have told me that our parents and all the other villagers are in grave danger. If I do not leave now, it may come to pass that you are unable to continue speaking because Proclus is already crying in horror at the words you have spoken. It is a long wail reminding you he is little more than a babe. Yeah, and a little bitch. Shh, Proclus, you mustn't cry about it. I promise to protect. But there is no consoling the child, and you are forced to flee into the night with his moans echoing over your shoulder. You take up a spade as you go. The village that you run through is empty. Most of the people have remained in their homes, waiting for the trouble to pass. As for the sentinels, you can hear them at the wall. You let the sound of the commotion pull you forward. You feel that the decision to disobey your father was not really yours. Even so, you tell yourself that it was a choice, one you made because it is right and good that I should protect my community. I must prove my father wrong for underestimating his son. The fools of this village will perish if not for me. I feel the crushing weight of my own destiny upon me, and I must follow its call. I believe this is the one we went with last time. You are tired of waiting to taste the excitement of combat. Tonight, all that will change. You are sure of it. You arrive at the edge of the village. Your father is already here. He has ordered his sentinels into a defensive position. Their spears are raised in a long row facing the high mound of stone that is your village wall. Father orders the fighters into second position, and the edges of their weapons tilt toward the coming enemy. You can hear a raging creature outside the wall ready to come in, but it has not shown itself yet. Farther back, your mother prays, and the other attendants with the other attendants of Sonus. Their low murmur swells to confront another unearthly cry. Some of the attendants carry torches, hoping to provide light for the battle, but these seem only to throw more shadows. Kind of actually reminds me of, what movie was it, Reign of Kings? Something like that, where having out the torch just casts a ton of shadows. Suddenly, a length of the wall begins to topple. Stones come crushing down, burying themselves in the soil, and the monster tumbles over with them. It glistens in the moonlight, the hairs on its back like tiny spears. You just barely recognize that it is a boar, the size of which you have never seen. Well, how big was the boar that I've seen before? Do they want to tell me, like, how big it might be? You are amazed, intrigued, ready for action, or horrified. I believe I was amazed. The sentinels advanced. A female warrior leaps out of formation to stab the boar's neck, but is swept aside with a single turn of its head. A young man comes forward now to break its hide with his spear. Before he can, he is gored by the beast's tusks and thrown clear, bleeding into the dust. The sentinels pull his body clear of the fight, and a priestess runs to his side. You know that by the time the night is over, many will fall to this beast. It is impossibly fast and impossibly strong, yet you know that you will defeat it. You step forward, scrambling ahead of the sentinel's formation. Your father bewilders, cries your name. I will tell you my name. This is what I went with last time, so I don't want to break character with who I already have decided that I am in this. Benjamin, he calls, horrified that his son is facing the beast alone. But you will soon show him there is nothing to fear, because you know that you are strong enough to snap the boar's tusk, one by one, quick enough to lead the boar on a frantic chase into the valley beyond the village, resilient enough to absorb the creature's attack with my body until an opportunity to fight back presents itself. I was quick enough to run away from it. You dart ahead of the creature and wave your spade, getting its attention, drawing its fury. It lowers its tusks and charges, hoping to gore you. You feign left, then right. You are astounded by the quickness of your movements, it is as though your very limbs are strands of lightning. You cannot recall ever being this fast, but perhaps it is a power you never needed before. Again you let the boar charge you, and again you slip away. Finally you can feel that its anger has bonded the beast to you. The monster will follow you anywhere, and you know just where to take it. Now before, I read all these, and I think I accidentally clicked next without choosing my option, so I was going to lead him into the hills to wear it out from chasing me, and I accidentally led it over the cliff because I didn't click here. So we're going to go ahead and click next. The boar remains on your heel. God damn it. The boar remains on your heels as you sprint into the perilous Epsicos hills that border your village to the north. It plunges forward with its ferocious momentum, yet it cannot best you for your speed. You sprint to the top of a steep outcropping and wait there for the boar to follow. It heaves its weight up the incline to confront you on even footing. You wait until it is close enough for you to feel its breath, and then bound down again, your tiny limbs carrying you easily in the lower ground. You repeat this process 5 times. Each time the beast turns to follow you. You sense that there is less power in its body. Finally, you run to the top of a steep rock mound and wait there for your pursuer. The creature fights its way to the precipice, throwing its full weight ahead. You need only step aside and watch it roll down the other side of the hill past you. As you descend to stand beside its wheezing body, you catch sight of the creature's hide in the moonlight, scarred like an aged leather from years of fighting. It is an old beast indeed. I leave it be. It will think twice about bothering my village in the future. This old warrior knows the lot of the defeat. What? Knows the lot of the defeated. Okay. I kill it with respect, but do not desecrate its body. I slay the beast and bring its ear back to the village as a trophy. I leave it be. Oh, it still pops up the achievement, even though I already have the achievement. Okay. You take pity on the old beast and let it live in defeat. If it is ever able to stand again, it will make its way back to wherever it came from in time. You return to the village. Your mother runs forward and embraces you, grateful to look into your eyes once more. "You are a fool," she wails, tears flowing down her cheeks as she holds you close. "A fool!" Over her shoulder you see the Archon, your father. He stands dumbstruck among the other villagers. His eyes fall on you as though you are a stranger. The other villagers stand behind him at a distance. They are muttering to each other. They look back and forth between you and your father, as though they are afraid of him suddenly. I keep yawning. As though they are afraid of him suddenly. This is not how you imagine you would be received after such a triumph. What is the matter? I know what the matter is. I'm not going to spoil it. When you return home, your brother is still whimpering in the corner, as he must have done the entire time you were away. When he notices that your mother and father have returned with you, he begins to wail even harder. He rushes forward and clings to their legs, one after the other. "Ah, father! Ah, mother! Ah!" "Back to your place, Proclus," your father barks. "Ah!" moans Proclus, but your father silences him with a look. Your brother returns to his mat again, there to resume sobbing as quietly as possible. You notice your mother's eyes narrow. Your father does too, though he ignores her gaze. He pours water into a bowl and drinks deep. When he speaks, his eyes watch the earth beneath your mother's feet, not her face. "It was one of the great boars," he says to no one in particular. "Perhaps the Temek are harvesting their piglets again, and we are left to reap the wrath of the full-grown." No mention of your great deed, not even a note of thanks. No joy or pride in his eyes. At last he casts a glance at your mother, but there is no love in it, and the look she returns is just as cold. You lay on your mat and try to sleep, your young mind wondering what actions tonight could possibly done to make your father so angry. What your actions tonight? Yeah. I'm going to skip words just because my mind skips over them. I can't read fast enough with my mouth as I can with my eyes, so I'll be reading here, and this is what you'll be hearing, and my eyes are already over here, so I'm working off of memory of what I just saw. Perhaps my father's embarrassed that a child like me has done what he could not. No. Perhaps the boar was sacred to Sonus. My father has said that the gods punish mortals who harm beasts. No. Perhaps I have made the whole village jealous of me. My new power has doubtless made them. No. Perhaps I've frightened our village. My new power. What did I do here before? I don't know. I think I went with this one. You can only hope that you are wrong. You awaken early the next morning, but your troubled thoughts do not allow you to return to sleep. You keep your eyes closed anyway, lying still and listening. You hear your father leave without a word to begin repairing the wall. You hear the washwoman collect Proclus for the day. Finally your mother stirs you. "You cannot fool me, Benjamin. I know you are awake. Rise. It is time for your lessons." Upon your arrival on the hilltop, the other children cheer unanimously. They have already heard the tale of your victory over the boar, and they know a hero when they see one. They challenge you to race against them to the bottom of the hill and back, but you are back to the top again before most of them have been halfway down. You feel proud to enjoy this moment in the sun, haunted by the implications my new powers may yet have for my family, powerful indeed and ready to reap the rewards of such power. Disappointed that my own father did not share my friend's enthusiasm, surprised how easily my friends were amused. I went with this one, because I pissed off my dad somehow, and that annoys me. Finally, your instructor Rykos arrives. The reeds of discipline in his hand are a sure sign that today's fun is at an end, yet you find it difficult to focus on your lessons today. Your thoughts are restless. Besides, there seems to be something happening in the village below. "Look, they are gathering," whispers Hethekos, pointing you and pointing down at the hill. He is your favorite classmate, but he can be a terrible busybody, always sticking his nose into everyone else's business. "See how many people have taken to the streets. I will bet the elders are being called to council. And look over there, Benjamin. It's your father. They must have called him too." Hethekos is right. Your father is among the villagers now converging on the chambers of judgment. The other villagers seem to be giving him a wide berth. This commotion in the streets is worrying indeed. Could this meeting council concern my fight with the boar? Probably about the Tamak nomads, whose greed and carelessness caused the boar attack in the first place. No concern of mine at the moment, because I need to work on my lessons. You quiet your mind and allow the words of Rykos to soothe you. The lesson relates to the measurement of liquids. You watch Rykos pour large cups of stream water into smaller ones and out again into larger ones. He asks the class guess when they will overflow. You guess correctly twice. That's right, because I'm a fucking badass when it comes to guessing. I used to guess when we were doing in elementary school, we'd have like things where they're like, estimate the answer for this question, and they'd have something like 17 plus 14. I'd just like right off the top of my head, I'd guess like, it might be 32. Just guessing. Seriously, just guessing. And they'd be like, what is 16 times 9? And I'd just do it real quick in my head. I'd be like, okay, 16 times 9, go 160 minus 16 would be 144. And I was like, might that be 144? And they'd be like, dick. You're supposed to be estimating. Yeah, they get mad at me a lot for not listening to instructions. As for Hethekos, he continues to watch the town lost in the commotion. He is so captivated that he does not even notice when Rykos stops the lesson and raps him on the back with his reeds. Bullshit, he's not going to notice that. Rykos is a bitch if he can't get the attention of some kid by smacking him with reeds. But such is always the way with that one. Oh, okay, so he's just oblivious entirely. When the sun begins to settle in the western sky, your lessons draw to a close, and you begin your descent to the village with the other children. You are only halfway down the hill when you hear Rykos' voice again. "Benjamin, please return and wait with me." The children turn and follow your eyes. Atop the hill, one of the council's attendants is standing beside your teacher. "It is the decree of the elders that you visit with Meredith tonight." That's how I decided to read that, because I got tired of saying Megrados. I call him Meredith, because Meredith is the name of one of my uncles. "I will bring you to him at sundown." Meredith, everyone knows that name, the old man who lives in a hut on the eastern edge of the village, and dresses like a foreign king. The adults say he is a healer, but the other children have another name for him. You can hear Hethekos whispering it under his breath now. The sorcerer. For your part, I am sure that he is every bit the monster my peers say he is. I am sure those who think Magros is sorcery is merely unaccustomed to his ways. I cannot rule out the possibility he is a sorcerer. This world is a wondrous and dangerous place. It's not wondrous or dangerous, because I think I'm 14 at this point, because it says later I'm 16 after like 2 years pass. I went with this one. There we go. You are sure Meredith is merely a knowledgeable old man. You cannot even trust that he is a mystic, let alone a sorcerer. Rykos brings you to his hut at sundown. It's a remarkable structure made of bundled twigs. He knocks on the door. An old man appears. He is draped in an elaborate robe like those worn at festivals. His white beard betrays his age, though you suppose he must be proud of it, for it is braided at the end with 3 opals.
"And this must be Benjamin. Come in, come in. I hope the council hasn't worried you too much. I have only to ask you a few questions tonight, and you will be off to your family again. Come in, come in."
You enter alone. His hut almost seems larger on the inside, though much of it is filled with strange objects, figurines with long arms and dark eyes, plates painted with images of great winged hounds, bowls with snakes' faces for handles. You imagined the temple of Sonus with its many offerings, thanks of God, but the images on these objects are strange to you.
They are from the eastern lands,
Meredith says, noticing your attention to his wares.
depictions of their gods. They are gifts from my friends.
He gestures to his cloak proudly.
This is a gift too. It was given to me by the Ka himself, a most interesting man, the Ka, most generous for one so powerful, though he can be quite fussy to tell the truth. Ah, well, I suppose it comes from being the Ka.
Meredith looks at you as though he had forgotten you were here.
But my, I am being such a rude host. You must be famished. Please help yourself to the fruit.
He gestures to a lacquered bowl. It is filled with grapes. You begin eating them, and the old man smiles.
I am only relieved that you trust my hospitality. I have heard the other children think me a sorcerer.
I'm not going to feign anything, because I don't like lying.
Indeed.
Oh, no, that's me. Indeed, I have heard the other children's stories. I refuse to believe them. The old man laughs.
Good for you, my boy. In truth, I am merely a healer and wield no magic. There have been no sorcerers in Agosa since the end of the First Age.
He waits until you have had your fill to speak again.
Now I must admit, I have many questions for you tonight, but before I start asking them, do you perhaps have a question for me?
I believe before I asked what the first age is, and I'm going to go ahead and ask again, even though I already know. So,
A good question,
Meredith laughs.
for tonight let it be only said that the First Age was a dark time when the mortals of Agosa committed great offenses against the god. The rest of the story we'll keep for another day. Now have a seat, please.
You find one of the few places not covered in artifacts and sit down.
So tell me of your battle, child. There is talk of your prowess all over the village. What was it like fighting the great boar?
It was the happiest moment of my life to find that I possess such power. So far it seems it caused me nothing but trouble. It was thrilling indeed to best the beast. I merely did what was necessary for the village protection. I went with this.
Such a phlegmatic humor,
Meredith remarks. You have never heard these strange words and have no notion how to respond to them. Sensing the confusion in your silence, Meredith continues.
I was referring to the humor of your soul, my boy. Its mood, its character. Now tell me, how did you know that you could outrun the boar? Did someone tell you that you would be fast enough?
It is a question you had not thought of before. In truth, you had no knowledge of your power before you used it. You tell Meredith so. He ruminates over your response for a few moments.
In that case, I have another question for you. It may seem frivolous, but I assure you that it is quite important.
Meredith peers inquisitively into your eyes, and fixes his gaze there hard, as though he is daring you to lie.
Where do you go when you dream? He asks.
This is a strange question, to be sure, but you can feel from Meredith's voice that he is very serious.
Is there perhaps a place where you have been many times, a place that you dream about over and over again?
You look back upon your dreams. You have been to so many places in them, it seems impossible to name them all. But indeed there is one place that you have dreamed of for more than any other. You say, I have dreamed of being in a great gray city made of stone. It overlooks the water. I have dreamed of being in a twisting canyon that is the color of soil in summer. There's a noise above me like scrabbling legs. Holy shit, I've been there. I've been there. I didn't even realize that that was one of the places. I've dreamed of a great building on a mountaintop shaped like a half moon. I went with this one the first time, so. Meredith nods.
You describe the city of Kalanos, he says. A beautiful place far from our village.
But I have never been to Kalanos. I have never known anyone who has been there. I've only seen it.
Perhaps it is a premonition. They are not as unusual as you might think. Tell me, have you never dreamed of another city? A great one. I'm just yawning, 'cause I'm an old man. A great one in the sky, shining and white as a cloud, with many tall people in it, shining too, like the city.
You shrug. It is the first you have heard of such a place.
Come to the table, then. There is another way.
Across the room there is a small table with 2 chairs. On the table is a bowl and a shiny bronze knife. You sit at the table. Meredith sits across from you.
Give me your hand, he says.
I went ahead and just gave him my hand, because with the knife and the bowl, obviously, I'm going to get cut. So, why would I sit down at the table at all, unless I was expecting to go through this? Obediently, you give the mystic your hand.
You are very brave, boy, so I will be plain with you. I must now shed some of your blood, only a few drops, I assure you, to perform a simple test. It may hurt for a moment, but for someone as courageous as your shelf, yes, put that up on your shelf. Pick up your room, damn it, it's a mess. You got fucking lantern there, and your heart monitor is sitting on the floor. What the fuck is the matter with you? It may hurt for a moment, but someone as courageous as yourself, it should be should be of no bother at all.
Why am I being so tested?
The elders have some questions about your newfound power, Meredith says. The answers are in your blood.
He speaks these words with a finality that indicates he will tell you no more.
Now, shall I make the cut, or would you prefer to make it yourself?
I went with this one, even though I'm not fearful, and I explained this about, like, bravery and something or other, how it's not necessarily a fear, it's just I don't like to, there's no point in just stabbing a knife into myself, so it's not really confronting a fear. With power such as mine, I can no longer think myself a child. I must make the cut myself.
Very well.
You take the blood from your thumb. It clings thickly to the blade.
That will be enough, Meredith says. Now come with me.
On the night of the great boar's attack, the moon was nearly full. It is even brighter now, as Meredith holds the blade to it. The cool light makes your blood look like a shadow. Meredith regards this, and he breathes a sigh of relief.
Nothing. Why, it barely even reflects.
He looks down at you and smiles reassuringly.
You have passed the chest. You have passed the chest. Yes, pass the chest, please. No, not the chest that has, like, all the gold and shit in it. Pass me the chest. Like, pass me the woman's chest. Hell yes. I might be an old man, but I'm not. Okay. You have passed the test, child. Your blood would be glowing white in the moonlight if you were the child of a god. But see, your blood is dull as dust. Now we know for sure that you are mortal, and that is good news indeed.
Why? You ask, more than a little disappointed. You can think of 1,000 reasons why it would be exciting to be the god of a child. Meredith looks at you with amusement, as though your question has betrayed your youth.
It is good news because it means that the Archon is your father.
Which is why he was pissed at wife, because obviously he was there for the birth, so he would see me be birthed by her, but if I was the son of a god, then it would mean that she was doing things with gods. Finally, you understand not only why you are here, but why your father has been so angry since last night, and so changed toward the family. Your family. Seeing your great power on display, he thought you might not belong to him, that you might not be his son at all, and that your mother... Suddenly your thoughts explode with 1,000 questions for Meredith, but one of them is foremost in your mind, and that is the question you ask him. I think this is the one that I asked him.
It is a gift from the weavers, Meredith said, and one best not questioned. The weavers? Powerful gods, who decide human fates. They are the masters of destiny itself. But come now, we must return you to your family. They will want to know what we have discovered.
I believe before I didn't go this far on the first one, but I'm just going to go ahead and get to the point of where I was before in this video, because it pisses me off that my computer decided it was going to fuck up my mic. The way that it works is I have this down here, and I go to recording devices, and then I have my microphone here, and I go to properties and levels, and for some reason, sometimes when my computer goes to sleep, or whenever it restarts, it gives my microphone boost another 10 decibel boost to it, and I can't, like, save the setting or anything like that. It just resets itself automatically, which is bullshit, and it didn't start doing that until after I played Fable for the first time, so that... It's just really, really annoying. So I have to check that now every time I go to record, and I just forgot to do it for this one. Your father and mother await your return in the doorway. As you draw closer, they read the good news in Meredith's face. Your father begins to smile for the first time since the previous evening.
Greet them, Meredith tells you. Greet your family, child. Was born in the darkness, molded by it.
Then he gave you a nudge on your shoulder and sends you running into their arms. Your father's hold is almost desperate, as though he thought he had lost you, and has found you once more. Even so, it is many days before your mother will speak to him again. His sudden coldness to her, and to you, his son, has left a mark in her mind that is not soon erased. Every night you hear him whispering sweet words to her in the darkness, trying to win her back. He seems to fear her anger in a way she did not fear his, and perhaps in the end it is what wins her over. One morning, some weeks later, you do not know how, but they are back to the way they were. They speak to each other with ease, they smile together, and their eyes meet. Love has returned to them once again, and your father has been forgiven. I'm only relieved this incident is past. I will never trust my father again. Perhaps now my family will finally acknowledge my achievements. I pity my father's vulnerability. I remain shocked that my father could have been so cruel to my mother. I'm just happy they're back together. You are only grateful to have your family back. With them, you will be ready to face the future. It is sure to be an exciting place with the great power you have uncovered. You have only to wait to discover where it will take you next. So that's where I'm going to go ahead and leave off for this one. I didn't go quite this far originally, but I'm really annoyed that I have to go through it again. I don't mind, though, because it'll just solidify what I have, but the fact that I have to go through everything already knowing what's going to happen, it kind of takes away from a little bit of the adventure. And I'm not going to change the way I was because I want to be the same character still. So we're going to go ahead and check my stats real quick. So my speed is up like it was originally. My humility is a little bit higher than it was before. My courage is up higher. My logic like completely overtakes my passion. So yeah, go ahead and leave off here. If you guys like this, go ahead and let me know, and I will go ahead and bring you some more of it. See you next time.